Good afternoon, everybody. What a wonderful sight it is, and thank you all for being here today. If you remain standing, please, the Reverend Gabriel will take prayers. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this marvelous day that you've given to us to conduct business here. And we also thank you for the time of the old mayor and the beginning of the new. Bless us, we pray, in Christ's name, as we say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Please sit down, everybody. Thank you. So we move on to the important business of the day. First things first, though, apologies for absence, please. No official apologies for absence. The next item on the agenda, we'll all be glad to hear, is the election of the Mayor of the Council. To propose, Councillor Simon Blackburn, please.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Deputy Lieutenants, Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased that the Mayor-elect sees her appointment as an opportunity to modernise and revitalise the role of the mayoralty. I've known Amy since she chaired Blackpool Young People's Council more years ago than either of us care to remember. She was then, and she is now, strident and vocal in her point of view. She has served in a number of different roles in the Labour administrations of 2011 to 15 and 15 to 19, both within and outwith of the Cabinet, and has thrown herself purposefully and wholeheartedly into whatever she has been asked to do in the furtherance of the service of the people of Blackpool. She chairs the board of the Blackpool Entertainments Company, that's the Winter Gardens to those of us that don't deal in acronyms, and has been an elected regional representative for the Association of Labour Councillors for the first 2 terms for which that office has existed. We are joined today by Judy, James, Martin and Bryony from the LGA Labour Group. They're very welcome, and demonstrating how fondly Amy is viewed by her colleagues, not just in Blackpool, but up and down the country. She was a candidate for the Labour Party for the first time in the People's Socialist Republic of Stanley in 2007, where, if I recall correctly, she made a small but reasonable dent in the enormous Conservative majority. She won back the seat that she now occupies in Ingthorpe for Labour in 2011 and has held it ever since, alongside her long-suffering, yet ultimately also successful running mate Jo, whom it is a welcome to the Chamber today. Amy is, and Jo will rapidly become, staunch defenders and battlers for their constituents, and I felt a great deal of genuine warmth on the doorstep as I campaigned for them, as many of us did, a lot, in the recent municipal elections. She has been a great source of help and support to our retiring colleague, Kath Rawson, whose legs, unfortunately, haven't been able to keep up with her incisive, inquiring and very, very witty mind over the past few years. And I know that Kath appreciates very much Amy's support and her on-the-doorstep presence in recent years. Amy and I share a taste in both music and films, and frequently quote to one another snippets from our favourite films. It's perfectly fair to say about Amy that as far back as she can remember, she always wanted to be a councillor. It is perhaps fitting that someone whose service to the people of Blackpool began with the Young People's Council, that she should be rewarded by becoming the youngest ever mayor of our great town. I have no doubt at all that with John at her side, or I suspect more accurately, 3 paces behind her, carrying her coat and her drink, and with the marvellous Jim and Lizette supporting her, she will prove a modernising and revitalising force for good that will be of benefit to the whole town. Her choice of mayoral charity reflects her interests and her passions and speaks volumes about who she is. Therefore, Mr Mayor, it gives me great pleasure to propose that in accordance with and subject to the provisions of the Local Government Act of 1972, Councillor Amy Cross be appointed Mayor of the Borough of Blackpool for the municipal year 2019-2020.
Thank you very much, Councillor Blackburn. To second, please, Councillor Kath Benson.
It is with great delight and a privilege that I second Councillor Amy Cross as Mayor for the forthcoming year. I have known Councillor Cross for many years in a personal and a professional capacity, and I can't think of anybody that deserves this honour more. She's a dedicated campaigner for young people and has worked tirelessly to improve their life chances and outcomes. Her chosen charities reflect her compassion and understanding of those in greatest need, and her ability to empathise and raise awareness will stand her in great stead in her civic year. Councillor Cross has all the attributes and qualities required to make a great mayor. A Blackpool girl through and through, she knows this town well and she knows its residents well. She will use her mayoral year to champion Blackpool and talk about Blackpool at every opportunity. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Benson. And this is the point where I feel like a turkey voting for Christmas, because we have to vote on the next Mayor of the Council. Those in favour of Councillor Amy Cross to be Mayor of Blackpool, please show. Those against? Abstentions? So we are unanimous, so we better get on with the ceremony. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Father of the Chamber.
It's okay. Enough. Please take your seats. Thank you. Oh, this is all a little bit weird and wonderful, isn't it? Thank you very much for coming, everybody. I do believe that I'm waiting on a presentation of flowers, which is an unusual thing to be waiting for from the leader of the council, but I will do so when I am asked to. Mark? So I'm just going to complete my declaration before he does that. I, Councillor Amy Cross, having been elected to the office of Mayor of Blackpool Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties it has according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the Civic Handbook and the Code as to the conduct which is expected of members of Blackpool Borough Council. You have to sign it and everything. This is going to be fun. Come on. Come on. Thank you, Sam. Okay, so let's try and get through this in order. I'll do my best, folks. Bear with me. It's my first time. Okay, so I believe I now have to appoint my deputy mayor. So I am going to propose Councillor Jim Hobson. Jim has been a wonderful friend to me since I met him back in, I think it must have been 2016 at his by-election. Jim finds this all rather amusing, as he did when he got elected, although he takes his responsibilities incredibly seriously. It's all a bit new and a bit strange for him too. So I think we'll make the perfect couple for taking on our mayoral duties this year. And I'd like to say thank you to Jim for all his support and help over the last couple of years, and to his family and to Lizette, who have supported me and been friends and good friends to me over the past 3 years. And now I have to read the official bit for Jim, which is that in accordance with and subject to provisions of the Local Government Act 1972, Councillor Jim Hobson be appointed Deputy Mayor of Blackpool Borough Council for the municipal year of 2019-20. I'd like to hand over to Councillor Blackburn, who I believe is seconding.
Thank you, Lady Mayor. Gives me great delight and joy to second Councillor Hobson's nomination as Deputy Mayor. I hope it will be the first of a series of inspired choices that you will make in this office. As you've already mentioned, Jim was first elected to the council in 2016 in a by-election. He is one of the hardest working, most diligent councillors it has been my pleasure to meet, bearing in mind that his running mate is the other one. I don't suppose he had a huge amount of choice in that. None of the rest of us do. But I'm delighted to welcome Jim's family and friends to the chamber today. When Eddie Collett died, one of the things that I was particularly worried about was that we'd lose that sense of fun, that sense of humour, and that sense of the absurd that Eddie had. Well, happily, Jim has got all of those attributes and brings a great amount of humour and joy to all of the work we do, whilst, as you said, Lady Mayor, being extraordinarily hard-working and taking his responsibilities very seriously. He's made me promise not to make any scouser in a suit go into court jokes as I bumped into him on the stairs. Not that that was ever my intention. But I think that's his greatest concern of today. So I've promised not to do that. I think, as you yourself say, Lady Mayor, I think you're going to make a superb team. You will revitalise and reinvigorate the town, and I think you're going to be absolutely superb together. So it gives me great pleasure to second your nomination.
Okay, so those of us that are councillors in the room, can we please vote on that motion? So those that are for, please show. Thank you. Any against? I should hope not. That's wonderful. I do believe that's unanimous. So I'll hand over. Councillor Hobson, do you have your paperwork in front of you? If you would like to take the declaration, Mr Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Lady Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Blackburn, for the Scouser suit joke. Right. I, Councillor Jim Hobson, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of the Blackpool Council, declare that I take office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the Civic Handbook and the Code as to the conduct which is expected of members of the Blackpool Borough Council.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Mayor. Okay, folks, as is going to be happening for the next 12 months, I'm going to do things slightly differently. You'll all be really surprised to know. So I am going to make my speech, but I'm going to try and keep it a little bit shorter than usual, which doesn't mean to say it's that short, but it's short enough compared to some of our previous years. And I'm also going to do something that I never do, which is read off a piece of paper, because otherwise I'll forget to thank somebody or mention somebody, and then I'll be in trouble. So, councillors, Lord Lieutenants, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming. You have no idea how much I appreciate the attendance, particularly of some of the people that have come on very short notice. You all know who you are. I have the honour of becoming your first citizen on this lovely Blackpool sunny day. As someone who was born in our very own Victoria Hospital, grew up in Bispham and has been a resident of Blackpool for my entire life, I do feel incredibly privileged to take on this prestigious role. To my first order of business, I would like to thank the outgoing Mayor, Gary Coleman. Gary has enjoyed his year as Mayor and has given me great words of support over the last few weeks since finding out I was to take on the office of Mayor for 2019-20. He has taken his role on to the best of his ability and always been a gentleman. He has supported a number of events and organisations as well as local businesses. Gary's attended Blackpool schools and colleges to give prizes to and support the young people of our town. I believe he has been involved in numerous events held by local drama groups. He has attended dance festivals and even been given the opportunity to go to the Operatic Society. I'm just hoping you didn't take part personally, Gary.
No photographic evidence.
No. I believe that he has been able to support the Armed Forces Week, attending many of those events, and was proud to stand with personnel from a number of organisations such as the Royal Artillery Association, Aiden Veterans and the Falklands Veterans. There are so many events that Gary's attended on behalf of our town, I couldn't possibly list them all. I just wanted to thank both Gary and Debbie for their service to the town and wish them both well for the future. Now, how on earth did I end up here? Well, so obviously Councillor Blackburn has mentioned some of the things that have happened to me, all in sometimes coincidence, sometimes luck, and sometimes by judgment. I'll let you decide which ones were which. So I started my political life at the age of 11. when I became Blackpool's Deputy Member of Youth Parliament and I became a member of Blackpool Young People's Council. I went on to chair the Youth Council, and during my time, the group expanded from just 5 to 70. When we finally finished meeting and I stopped being the chair, we actually used to meet in this chamber here. It was here that I met the Assistant Cabinet Member for Younger People, a 30-year-old Simon Blackburn. Yes, I have just told everybody how old you are, Simon. I did that on purpose. He asked me which political party I belonged to, and I stated the Labour Party, of course. It was then that Simon asked if I would like to go on canvassing and campaigning for the 2005 general election. And as I tell him now, if I cause him any trouble, it's all your own fault. In 2006, the law changed to allow 18-year-olds to stand at local election. I was only 17 at the time, but I was due to be 18 just a month before our nomination papers needed to be in for the 2007 local elections. So I became a paper candidate, as Councillor Blackburn said, for Stanley Ward. When I signed that nomination, I was the youngest person ever to stand at a local election nationally. Don't know whether I still am, but still, I'm going to claim it for now. I was 22 when I finally was elected to my beloved Ingthorpe Ward. And now, as much as ever, I would like to thank all the residents of Ingthorpe Ward for their support, for electing me, and for making this possible today. Because obviously, without their votes, I wouldn't be sat here. I'm proud to have been a part of North Blackpool Pond Trail, Winnipeg Residents Association, Kincraig School Governors, some of which are here today. And I've managed to support many events and local businesses in our ward, which I'm proud to have done and will continue to do. I couldn't let this occasion pass without thanking Kath, who has been my fellow ward councillor for the last 8 years. She's been a great friend and mentor to me, and I'm sure she won't hesitate to contact me with any ward inquiries now she's no longer a ward councillor. I look forward to it. That brings me to today. Blackpool and its people have afforded me so many opportunities, not least today's honour of becoming our town's first LGBT mayor at the age of 30. To have achieved so much at this point in my life, I must be doing something right. However, I can't take all the credit. I would like to thank all my colleagues who have supported me and the wonderful officers I've worked with, particularly in the previous 4 cabinet roles I have held over the years. And I'm going to be even giving Ivan a run for his money, I believe, at that rate. 4? How many have we had? I'd like to thank my colleagues from the Local Government Association and from the Association of Labour Councillors, some of whom are here with us today. And they've given me huge support and encouragement over the last 3 years, and I genuinely would like to thank you all. Thank you for coming. Don't worry, Mum, Dad, I haven't forgotten about you either. Thank you, as always, for your love and support. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I'm trying not to cry. Thank you for your ongoing support. It's much appreciated. My friends and family have all been incredibly understanding when I've missed birthdays and social events in order to represent my ward, my party or my town, both locally and nationally. And I thank you for that understanding. A special thank you to John, who is a great friend of mine and will take up the role of consort for the year. John has been my rock, particularly throughout the local elections. Please don't go telling anybody any of the stories. I'd really appreciate it if you didn't. No, Bryony, not even to you. My final remarks you'll be pleased to hear are about my choice of charity for the year. I'm pleased to be supporting Empowerment, a local charity set up to deliver a wide range of services for people suffering with mental health issues, children who've experienced domestic abuse, those with substance misuse issues, as well as many other sections of the community who don't always have a voice. And we really appreciate that, guys. I chose Empowerment because I have seen the work they do, and I hope that you can join me in raising as much money as possible for those that need their help over the next coming year. All that's left for me to say is thank you all for coming, and I'm looking forward to doing things a little differently over the next 12 months. Thank you. I'd like to hand this to Gary. Gary, you've been an incredible supporter over the last couple of weeks. Thank you for all your words of encouragement. I'd like to present this to you and allow you to say your thank yous.
Thank you so much, Lady Mayor. Thank you, Lady Mayor, for presenting me with the mayoral badge. Whenever I wear it, I shall do so with honour and pride. It's a sign that I've now officially joined the Old Mayor's Club. As the 128th person to join the club, I cannot help but think of some of the giants in our town's history that have joined it before. Many of them are in this room today, may I say. Lady Mayor, 143 years ago, William Henry Cocker became the first mayor of Blackpool and the first person to officially wear the chain of office that you are now wearing. Blackpool was then a small young town, but the mayor and his councillors had big dreams for the future. During the next few decades, many great men, and back then they were all men, took the office of mayor, and the town continued to grow and develop. Without their leadership and entrepreneurial spirit, our town would almost certainly not have become our nation's favourite holiday resort. Sadly, Blackpool has lost many great buildings to the wrecking ball over the years, but during our mayoral year, Debbie and I have had the pleasure of visiting most of the wonderful buildings that still remain. The Tower and Grand Theatre are both celebrating, as we know, their 125th anniversary this year. No matter how many times we visit the Tower Ballroom or the Grand Theatre, it's impossible not to look around those venues and just simply think, wow. Last year we had the pleasure of officially welcoming hundreds of people to the 140th anniversary celebration of the magnificent Winter Gardens. During our over 200 engagements, Debbie and I attended during our year. We've had the great fortune of visiting our town's finest hotels, our greatest historical buildings, and some of the most up-to-date facilities in the country. When we go to events, we know we are seeing just the tip of the iceberg. We don't see all the work, time, and effort that goes into making an event happen. Debbie and I often say that being mayor and mayoress is educational. We all tend to know a little bit about many of the organisations, the groups, societies and charities here in Blackpool. When you actually go and visit them, you meet all the great people that work there and volunteer to make other people's lives better. You get to see the positive impact that is being made by people who usually go about their business underneath the radar. Without such people, our town and society in general would be a much poorer place, both literally and figuratively. We have met hundreds, if not thousands, of wonderful, inspiring people during our year. I do not wish to single out today what events stood out for us during our mayoral year, because that would be so unjust and do a disservice to all those that I should happen not to mention. We have met people aged from only a few weeks old to some that are over 100 years old. There have been some times of great joy and laughter, and as we know, we've also had some sad times during the year as well. It is great to meet with children. You simply never know what questions they are going to ask, so be warned. They can range from, do you sleep with your chain on? No, because it's very uncomfortable. Or to, do you live in a castle? I wish. At one school, which will remain nameless, I thought I'd done fairly well until the very last question asked by an 11-year-old, when they asked me, what's the council's policy on the importation of foreign veal? Fortunately, the teacher stepped in. But if in 10 years' time you have any questions about veal, I know exactly the school to send you to. Whenever we visited places with young people, we always try to tell them to have confidence in themselves and have ambition. It's so important to give young people faith in themselves and tell them that they can achieve great things. We also stress that it's no longer like the old days, and that now girls can set their sights just as high as a boy can. Blackpool has a lot to be proud of. We are not just an average town. Blackpool is a special place in millions of people's hearts. We are Britain's greatest seaside resort. Other towns, some much bigger than ourselves, look on with envy at what Blackpool has to offer. No matter what position any of us possess, we know we are merely custodians of this wonderful town. It's incumbent on us to work hard to make sure that Blackpool will continue to be successful and that people not yet born will have the opportunity to enjoy what many generations have enjoyed before them. So, Lady Mayor, what an absolute honour Debbie and I have had in representing our town. Not only have we served as Mayor and Mayoress, but we've been fortunate to have been deputies on 3 occasions, to Robert Wynne, to Kath Rosen, and of course my father. To have my name etched in stone next to my father's name on the mayoral list means the world to me. My portrait will also be next to his in the mayor's parlour for the next 24 years, which is quite special too. Debbie and I have collected memorabilia from nearly every one of the something like 500 engagements that we've been to over the last 4 years in civic office. I don't know what our daughters will think when they finally come to sort out all our old stuff. They will find menus, badges, engagement sheets, candles, sticks of rock, posters, letters, lanyards, and even 2 pieces of original tram track that were hidden underneath the road outside the town hall for the last 50 years. They might even find the bricks I've saved from the high-rise flats after they were demolished. I would like to thank everyone that has been there for us this year. Your help is truly appreciated. May I thank Augusta so much for being our chaplain, for Colin for looking after us so well through the year. I can't wait to see Colin's book when it's published. That's going to be probably more than 1 volume, actually. Alan, thank you so much. Thank you to the officers that have looked after us as well. Your help is truly appreciated. It has been an interesting year, and I'd just like to thank those of you that like us for all your help, support and friendship. It won't be forgotten. I'm so fortunate to have such a wonderful family. Debbie, Beth and Charlotte make my world. My mum and dad are my inspiration. I have a great brother and a superb mother-in-law and father-in-law. I can't forget the mother-in-law. And an incredible extended family. Today is actually my father's 80th birthday and Peter, my father-in-law's 78th birthday. So I wish them both a fantastic day and no prizes for guessing what we're up to later in the evening. So, Lady Mayor, a chapter comes to an end for me and a new one begins for you. I'm reminded of a time when you had just been selected to stand in your first election. A former councillor said the party might as well get candidates from out of the gutter. Honestly. I know it hurt you so much at the time, Lady Mayor, but I remember telling you that one day you would achieve great things. Ta-da. Lady Mayor, I've seen you grow into an excellent councillor over the years, and you are now the first citizen of a town of over 145,000 people, a place visited by 17.5 million people every year, and a major international resort renowned throughout the world. No pressure then. You will have such a great time. I have no doubt you will represent us wonderfully. Enjoy your year. It will go so quick, but I'm sure that you will make memories that will last for a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute honour and privilege. Let's make Blackpool even better. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the council does have some ordinary business to get to. So if those of you that wish to leave, you can do so and go and take some light refreshments in the other room. Or if you would like to stay, it's entirely up to you. I'll give you a couple of minutes to make your minds up and leave if you're going to leave. Councillors, ladies and gents, if you could take your seats, please. I'll wait for Councillor Callow to take her seat. Even I'm not that brave, even as the new mayor. That's all right, don't worry. Don't worry, Councillor Callow, I'll wait. It's all right, it's fine. Okay, councillors, so I believe we need to get to the ordinary business. So, declarations of interest. Has anybody got any declarations? And if you have, can you state the nature of such interest? No? Fabulous. The minutes of the last meeting held on the 27th of February, can we agree that they are true and correct record? Fabulous. Announcements. The only announcement that I would like to make today is to today is the anniversary of the Manchester bombings, in which we lost one of our own members of the town, Jane, and I'd like to pass on our condolences from the council to her family. I know they're having a small remembrance service in Stanley Park today, so I'd like us to pass on our best wishes to her family. Other than that, I have no other announcements for today, so we'll move on to business of the election of the leader of the council. Councillor Ivan Taylor.
Lady Mayor, councillors, it's a privilege and a pleasure to propose that Councillor Simon Blackburn be elected as leader of this council for the next 4-year period. Simon's ability is known and recognised not just here in Blackpool but nationally too, where he plays an important role on behalf of this authority, and that brings us great credit, I think, in Westminster and other places. Over the recent years, we've seen a tremendous investment going on in the town and some of the pain that goes with that. But I think if you look around today, when you go out there, you see things are now settling down and it's beginning to see the benefits of all the work and investment that's gone in. And that is being led dynamically by Simon as leader of this council. And I think we could not be served any better anywhere by having him as our leader again for another 4 years. I propose.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Kane.
Thank you, Lady Mayor, and may I congratulate you on your privilege to be in the chamber and witnessing, and you've been part of my team for years now, and I'm really pleased that you. So congratulations on that. I would like to formally second Councillor Taylor in seconding. Seconding Councillor. Yeah, let's. Hang on. That was the plan. He didn't know about that. No, I'm privileged to second the motion and for Simon Blackburn to be the leader of the council for the next 4 years. Thank you, Lady Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kane. Anybody else? Okay, we'll take that to the vote. So all those in favour, please show. Okay, all those against? Okay, all those that are going to abstain? Thank you very much. I believe that is carried. Okay, so congratulations, Councillor Blackburn. On to the next order of business, Scrutiny Committees. Councillor Blackburn, I believe you're...
Happy to propose the recommendations, Lady Mayor.
Councillor Campbell?
Formally second, Lady Mayor. Thank you.
All those in favour? Okay. All those against? No. Anybody abstaining? No. Fantastic. That's carried. Wonderful. Thank you. Appointment of committees. Councillor Blackburn, I believe you're proposing.
Happy to propose the recommendations, Lady Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
Formally second again, Lady Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favour? All those against? I believe that's unanimous, in fact. Wonderful. Okay. Item 12, Scheme of Delegation, changes to the Constitution. Councillor Blackburn, I believe you're proposing.
Happy to propose recommendations, Lady Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
Formally second, Lady Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour? Fantastic. I believe that's unanimous. Wonderful. Carried. Item 13, Programme of Council and Committee Meetings. Councillor Blackburn.
Happy to propose, Lady Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
Formally second, Lady Mayor.
Thank you very much. All those in favour? Fabulous. I believe that's unanimous as well. Wonderful. Item 14, appointment of honorary alderman of the borough. Kath has now left, but I'm looking forward to this one. So, proposing?
Yeah, absolutely delighted to propose that former councillor Kath Rawson be conferred the honour of becoming an honorary alderman of the borough of Blackpool.
Fantastic. And that is to suggest that we are going to have the meeting and hold that special meeting. When are we holding that special meeting? Sorry, Mark?
I think we are looking for the next council meeting.
Looking for the next council meeting. Okay. So, are you seconding that, Councillor Campbell?
Absolutely delighted to formally second that. Thank you.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Can we take that to the vote, please? All those in favour? Fabulous. I think that was unanimous as well. That's wonderful. And that concludes our business of today. Thank you, ladies and gents.